And the only reason she got herself out of that depression was the realization that if you can't be happy right now, you will never be. Oh, dude, what a great Sunday. I don't know where anybody is, but where it is, by me, it is the weirdest weather. It's like cloudy, but misty cloudy. It's just the entire sky is white instead of blue, but I can't see a cloud.
Like I realized last night when I couldn't actually sleep under my blankets properly that it's actually gonna be summer again in South Africa.
Yeah, dude, it's
And like that moment
terrifying.
when you realize, like, wait a second, we've been complaining about cold, now it's gonna
God.
be scorching hot again. Like I clicked it. I was like, oh no, here it comes.
Dude,
I can't sleep
we
in the
had
heat.
we've
Not
had
without a fan.
dude, we've had the worst cold that we have had in like we broke what was it, 6 temperature records this year that have stood since 1990 for cold, and now we're gonna get annihilated by the heat, dude. No,
That,
well,
that sounds about right.
well,
Let's go.
I'm going to dub my Keith pipe to the podcast, and I will intention preface it with happiness and love.
Happiness and love has been so present in my life as of late, and yet it sometimes feels, especially with that overpresence of love, that you can become so almost disconnected or dissociative to what it is that's happening. Like I like there's these feelings of like, is this actually real? Is is this happening?
Like in the sense of it's overbearing amounts of it that it almost doesn't seem real.
Dude, like I was like specifically I was thinking as well about how for the longest time people had to spend so much time doing stuff like just to get ordinary things done. For example, for us to have this conversation, normally we would literally have to drive out to each other during this weekend to be able to sit down and have this conversation with one another. Now we have transcended literally hours of travel and X amount of money spent and fuel and whatever.
Judging by those technical difficulties you had before the session, I mean, I
I
respect.
mean, we could still have the conversation. We were just not recording in the way that I wanted it to. So, like now we're transcending those type of things. And I was thinking as well, like think about someone in the wild just kind of stumbling upon a marijuana plant and just being like, what is this plant? And being able to then figure out that you can smoke this plant and then figure out as well that if you smoke enough of it, it's going to have some sort of psychoactive effect on you. Now, fast forward a few, like 100,000 years, me as a human, even though we're like similar in a lot of aspects, I have now this collective information that has come with me that taught me how to cultivate things. And now I can literally intentionally create these things for myself that would have been like gold miracle finds in nature for our previous ancestors, if you will.
Yeah, and do you know what's insane? Our genome hasn't changed a lot in 10,000 years. Evolution takes
Needed
too
to.
long. We're pretty much the same humans that used to build and live in mud huts. We just have more information.
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
like you said, bro, the fact that what I'm currently sitting here doing, smoking my keef pipe, so casually, because I know I can just go get more, or food. Do you know what else hit me the other day, dude? Uber Eats or deliveries is the most insane thing ever. We've gotten to the point where we can get food delivered whenever we want, and most people
I
can do
wouldn't
it.
call it whenever we want. If you
I
have
mean,
the
like you
money,
don't you
then
you
yes.
don't have to leave your house if you have like the financial resources to not do that. And that is a trip,
Yeah,
dude, because that literally like takes from the human being out in the world and trying to forage for food and find these resources to literally being in one spot and the resources just magically coming to you with a press of a few buttons on a
dude, it's
screen, dude.
fucking telepathy. I was thinking the other day, I was lying actually when I last Saturday when I had my trip. I was lying down and I was thinking about all my friends and everybody and like how much I love them. And then I was like, Holy shit, I actually have telepathy right now. I pick up my phone and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you a message quick. There is my mental idea in physical form, transcending the third dimension.
Yep, yep, yep.
Bruv.
Yep. And it used to be like a thing, like, oh, you have to either write it down now on a piece of paper and then move your body
up a
through
pitch
that
black.
space again. And now you can just kind of like do it instantaneously.
Man, and then the funniest thing is the time scale at which it happened. I remember there was a study done. Just anybody that lives in South Africa was old enough to remember old internet. In South Africa, the ADSL lines, and anybody that isn't from South Africa, you'll for the first time hear how bad our internet used to be. But in 2004, they did a test where they stuck a USB drive onto the back of a carrier pigeon and flew it from from Joburg to Cape Town, and then they transmitted, and it was a 4 GB flash drive, and then they transmitted 4 GB of data to Cape Town at the same time they let the pigeon loose to see how far they could get before the pigeon got there. And when the pigeon arrived, we had transmitted 4% of our data. 4% in the time it took a pigeon to fly there. Now I am sitting with gigabit internet that I can instantaneously download whatever I want. And in maybe a year or two, everybody in the world will have that based on Starlink. Literally in the span of less than 20 years.
Westworld, here we come!
Dude, Westworld's gonna be so sick. Actually,
Oh,
no.
please, let there be a Westworld in my lifetime.
And dude, what do you mean?
I don't want
please?
fucking Westworld, dude. I
want
want
Westworld.
I want Cyberpunk, bro. What do you mean?
What?
Cyberpunk.
Why? That's even worse.
That's worse, dude. I just kind of want us to get along, dudes. Please, can't we just fucking get along?
No, that laugh is right. No, dude.
Oh my god. I just want to get along with people. Okay. Do you also like to understand women and, travel at the speed of light? What else would you like? Have superpowers.
How the universe was actually started.
Yeah, dude. Actual omnipotence.
You get along. Human beings get along. Einstein said it himself, man. There are two things that are infinite in reality: the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not so sure about the first.
You know, fucking
You know-
Einstein dissing on humanity, dude.
Ew, dude, but I don't know. I saw this thing again the other day. I don't know if you guys have been hearing about the absolute fucking astonishment that's happening in America again about the vaccine and how people have what they've been doing is they've been taking spoons and sticking it to the vaccine onto the vaccine spot, claiming that there are magnets inside the vaccines to track them. Because somehow a spoon would stick to your skin on the vaccine spot. It's not like sweat or anything like that could cause it, and you could stick it to your face or the top of your head or your dick if you wanted to. It's definitely not any of those. They're putting trackers in our vaccines, bro.
And I saw a meme about that as well. It's like, no, don't get the vaccine because they'll put trackers in you. And then like it's this, the SpongeBob meme where he's like moving shit around and like ripping the plaster off the wall and pointing at it. And it's like laptops, cell phones, car
Yeah.
trackers, cameras everywhere. It's like, oh no, but a fucking tracker in your body is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
They fucking already know where you are.
The best
They know
part
all of
about
your
it-
dirty porn history. Don't even think that you're not being tracked as it is. It's just they have the decency to let you live your life based on your human rights.
To me, the part that's the funniest is like this type of information is most rampant on like Facebook and these type of communities, and that's going to be like number one instigator of like private tracking of your information, of if any of them is. And these people are like active on these platforms talking about these conspiracies while they're literally feeding into a conspiracy that is so blatantly obvious already. And it's such a weird contrast of people pretending to be scared of this thing and then willingly
just
giving
mob-
themselves to that thing that they say they're scared
It's
of.
mob culture, bro. Convince
Yeah.
enough stupid people, and when enough stupid people are saying the same thing, even the smart people start getting influenced.
Yeah,
And
that the problem is we have like a natural thing, and I think it was a really, really ingrained evolutionary step was to trust the people around you. And if enough people start making a thing true, then suddenly some people that were on the fence will now join the side as well. People are like certain things are obvious, like the vaccine. I don't understand that, but a good like the good idea of that is looting or something like that. For some reason, people just actually think it was supposed to be a good and instinctual idea to trust your fellow man.
not
Dude,
anymore.
actually, that makes me think about like the first fossils or the first fake fossils technically they found of like our pre-hominoid ancestors or our just semi-hominoid ancestors, if you will, as well. And it basically happened so that there was this chimpanzee jaw attached to like a human skull, and the person that kind of threw it into that ditch filed away at the teeth of the chimpanzee so it kind of fits with the rest of the skull. And this was like kind of touted as a claim, as like, oh, look at this crazy information, crazy new evidence of evolution, yada yada yada. And then it got turned out to be fake. But before it actually turned out to be fake, dentists were stepping up and basically saying, like, the wear patterns on the teeth doesn't really make sense for something that is that old or for something that has just normal teeth in general. And people were like, what do you know, dentists? We aren't gonna listen to you. And then they got fucked, dude. Like, eventually it proved like, yeah, it was actually a fake.
Dude, misinformation's really hard. I saw like that's something that I think is one of the biggest challenges that we as
The
a
first horseman
generation
of the
face.
apocalypse.
Dude, yeah, I'm not. I do think it would be the fifth horseman of the apocalypse is misinformation, because I saw the picture that a guy took out of his balcony window of a group of people taking pictures of reporters standing in ankle high water, and the reporters are reporting on the entire area being flooded. But right behind where all the pedestrians are standing is clean, dry ground. So they're trying to make the situation seem way worse by only showing the flooded area rather than the entire city that was okay.
Yeah,
That's because they're trying to
and then they
sell their
run.
story, dude.
Yeah, and then they run some sort of like charity campaign that basically feeds 50% of the revenue into their pockets.
Dude, it's sad, bro. It's so sad to me that we have fallen so far that we're willing to do this to each other just from fucking money, dude. I was actually watching after our podcast last week Saturday, I decided I was gonna go watch Kung Fu Panda 2 again. Um, Bro, what a fucking movie. Anyways, I know you misremember it because for the first time I watched it, and I actually, like, for the first time really understood the story. And the story is fucked up, bro. The main antagonist is a narcissistic, let me just think, narcissistic, self-centered, egotistical mass genocider
And a
who
peacock on top of all
a
that.
peacock, dude, who decimated an entire species to the brink of extinction just so he wouldn't meet his own fate. And then the entire story, it talks about Poe finding inner peace after being hurt so badly. But what stuck out the most to me in that is, yes, there's that scene, but there's also the very deep Buddhist theming behind the movie because of like kung fu and inner peace and a bunch of other stuff. But the one of the largest things that stuck out to me was this peacock's biggest dream is to have more power. And there's one line that this old soothsayer tells him, and he talks about how much power he wants, and she just looks him in the eye and she's like, "Listen, Shen, the cup you choose to fill has no bottom. Stop on this path." And it hit me so deeply because this is what money is. Money is literally a thing you're trying to fill that can go on infinitely. It's numbers. Numbers are infinite. So you're gonna try and attach that as your goal of happiness? You're dude. Ouch.
Gonna get wrecked, dude.
You're gonna get wrecked by infinity, dude.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's a bottomless cup.
Dude,
It's-
Bezos is still pocketing, billions upon billions, dude. Like, why? Dude, he doesn't need to anymore.
Yeah, but I think the saying actually goes the other way around, is you cannot fill a cup which is already full. Um, so,
Okay.
so whatever you're looking for, like more power and shit like that, power is an illusion. Fucking lie. All fucking bullshit. Everything that you consider to be power is not power. It's just tyranny.
Fair. Fair. So
What what
yeah,
what even is power?
power's control.
Control.
Power
Okay.
is the ability to change things for good or evil.
That is probably a more neutral point. Because theoretically, it could go both ways. Like, you have the power to change your own life for the better and be more kind or more loving, but you also have the power to go genocide.
Yeah,
What
or
about the power of just acknowledging that you're part of this fucking universe and the flow of time, and you are an insignificant speck of dust, and your ego means nothing?
I think we can all agree on that.
We can all agree on that, and I like. Thank you for saying it again. I don't know how you get that to more people because you know what's a weird thing
You are not to everybody listening out there. You are not the main character of this fucking
nobody's the main character of
cosmic
this thing.
story. You are not the main character. You're the main character of your own story, in your own world, in your own head. Not the main character of overarching plot. Nobody is. No such thing.
But you can play a role, and we all
Yeah.
do. And that's
Yeah.
the point.
No. Yeah, dude. Non-duality again. Dude, that term is something that I think will never ever ever leave as a concept. It's such a good understanding of the universe and your role to play in it.
What duality, reality?
Yeah, all
Non-duality.
non-duality.
You
Non-duality is
are, you are part of the oneness.
yeah, basically it's the idea of like if you have good or bad, you can't differentiate between them without differentiating them. So something cannot be good without you acknowledging something as bad. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise something just is. And so in the concept of good and evil, they're not opposites. They're the same thing on different sides, like a coin.
Yeah, they're like
Um,
properties of the same thing.
yeah,
I, I
they're
wrote
yeah,
wrote
go.
something a while back that I'm not sure if I've read on the previous podcast, but it's popped up again in this conversation here.
Please read it.
You can read it for us again.
So it goes about the truth about happiness. So the truth to being happy is to not run away from pain, but to face it head on and held high. Be brave and trust in yourself in the presence of fear. And the only way we can do that is by proving it through actions. The more you survive like a hero, the more you become one. Perhaps not to the outside world, but that's not what it's all about. That's not what matters. If you remain true to you, no matter what the world throws your way, be it good or bad, then and only then will you be truly happy. Lack of hardship does not equate happiness, and those that pretend to be going through tough times, to the extremity of convincing themselves, as an excuse to do more fun things, will suffer in the long run as leaders of fearful and empty lives. They are not the heroes who face the horrors of reality, but are the cowards who cry for heroes when the horrors come knocking. They look for salvation beyond themselves and will therefore never be able to save themselves. They become burdens on others. They're usually pretty and nice and have many friends and are full of exciting ideas and will always say they'll be there for you. In the same life, when time runs its reel and they become frail, ugly, lonely, with naught but their thoughts of pretentious bravery to keep them company, only then will they fathom an inkling of their fakeness.
Yo,
Dude.
I've read this one before, dude, but it's so fucking hard hitting, man. Because it
I
makes you kind of like look at yourself in that way as well, dude. It's like you have to kind of ask yourself those questions.
You do, constantly, on a daily
constantly.
basis.
No, dude, it is, and it's hard, dude. It's fucking difficult. Like, I feel like respect is a really good word for understanding somebody and the trials that they're going through life. Because it feels like such a big thing that's missing between humans is the acknowledgement of how hard some people are trying. Like you said, some people are very much running away from it. Some people are absolutely using external physical material objects to try and be happy rather than understanding and facing what it is that is making them sad.
It's not only that. It's also like the promise of a wonderful and beautiful outcome if you just get over yourself and help someone out or stick through a certain situation. When there is a promise of love, of light, of doing the right thing, instead of saying, no, it's too hard, I can't handle it, someone else will do it. Then it's almost like a crime, almost like a sin of you're running away from something that you could have done something about.
It's like a betrayal of your own purpose, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh. And the only reason she got herself out of that depression was the realization that if you can't be happy right now, you will never be.
That shit's powerful.
Dude.
Hardcore.
Yeah. Can't run anywhere, dude, because you're gonna be there, man. Like, it's literally... And I like the thing that bothers me more than the fact that we're not doing it is the fact that we're not really taught these basic things. Like, I'm thinking now, just while we're having this conversation, like, these things aren't things we're taught. We're not really, educated about how we're supposed to deal with these questions, how we're supposed to feel about them, how we're supposed to be processing them, how we're supposed to help one another when we notice stuff like that either.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's not. I don't think it's something that can be taught. It's something you grow into through your own experiences. It's something that's so unique and personal that you can't possibly tell another human being how to face their reality. It's like looking through a microscope or a telescope. Completely different vision if you were to step into their shoes. And sure, you can relate on a lot of things, just on the basic level of being human, and living in this time and in this space, in this country, and so on and so forth. Sure. But the way they perceive things could be astronomically different to the way you do. So every single person is a fingerprint, the uniqueness that it's like a butterfly effect. One little atom is different to that person over there. Suddenly, the entire fucking structure is changed and morphed, and it's a different kind of beauty. And you cannot teach someone how to do it. You can only show them how you do it.
Yeah, okay. So I want to put the question forward to you then is what do you think we need to teach people in school?
I think what school tried to do was set a basic level of education that all human beings should have so that they can progress through life with at least a bedrock of knowledge to create their decisions on. I don't think it's a perfect solution, absolutely not, but it's the best one that we could come up with thus far.
So I believe... sorry, dude, please continue.
Just to have a common ground, I guess, so that kids could enter the world, transition into adults with that common ground around all of them, so that they'd be able to talk to one another and relate to one another, and also just be able to, have that common knowledge so that they can communicate properly. If you take like a PhD in mathematics and put them next to a PhD of English, right?
Yeah.
They would be almost speaking completely different languages. Their logic would be completely different, their experiences would be completely different, so on and so forth. Whereas in school, there's still sort of like, common ground. And that really helps in keeping a sort of uniformity in the community, a unity,
I want to take it even deeper than that, actually, with the uniformity almost of it, because I believe that instead of being taught the things that we were taught, like I believe reading obviously is important. Basic math skills obviously is important. But I believe one of the more important things that we should have been taught is some philosophy, dude. Some spirituality, practicing. We
Philosophy
should be.
used to be a compulsory subject in school.
I still
Yeah,
think it should be, dude. Like,
should
it should be compulsory to like really go into your own biochemistry. I believe as well, dude. Like teaching kids what foods do, why they're supposed to eat well, teaching kids how to cook proper meals, how to like really space out macros, how to get all of their micronutrients, because those are the things that can really improve quality of life indefinitely. The stuff we were taught in school, none of it is really improving my quality of life other than reading. Like literally, I feel like reading is maybe the only thing that I have of
Yeah,
value
dude.
from school.
Dude, imagine not being able to read.
Yeah, see, dude.
Bro,
It's people. The
not
people
How do you
don't know how to
how do
read
you
in
think
some places, dude.
blind people feel, bro?
Dude, Braille, dude. That's even more
Braille.
hectic.
Yeah, Braille, but Braille's hardcore, bro. I read
Yeah,
some
dude.
Braille.
Hardcore, dude.
It's literally you're feeling bumps, dude, to read. Your books are like 5 times thicker than they need to be.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
We'll
man.
figure it out one day.
Dude, like there's
We'll
actually
figure
this
it out.
really cool tech that basically has like a little bump map at the back of your phone as like a cover. It uses your camera, and then as you walk, it basically adds little bumps in areas where there would be obstacles. So as a blind person, you can feel
Whoa.
your environment, and you can like see where there's obstacles by feeling like more pressure from that place.
That's
That's
so
ridiculous.
cool.
Because I saw the iPhone
That's
12.
so cool.
iPhone 11 now has LiDAR in it. You can do live room scans.
They do it with that phone actually, dude. I
Yeah,
wanna
dude.
LiDAR.
Chris, you can now literally, with your phone, walk into a room, turn in a circle, and you've 3D scanned the room. Proper mesh, proper colors, proper everything. Literally import it into a work, and they've got a scene. And so yeah, the tech's gotten ridiculous. So that for blind people, dude, is ridiculous. Cause I feel so bad. Eyesight is such a big portion of it, but I think you get around it. I think you learn to live with it. I don't
Yeah,
think it
dude,
must
they
be.
do. Like some people will go as far as to say they don't think of it as a disability, even.
Dude, that fucking video of the woodsman that's blind was the most ridiculous thing. Chris, I don't know if I ever sent you, but there's a guy in Kentucky, I think, that is a woodmaker or woodworker, but he's completely blind, and he makes the most ridiculous woodwork you've ever seen. It's so sick. I'll see if I can find it quick.
Shit's already happening like this, and we're just in our 20s, bro.
Bro,
Curious. Okay, things are happening so fast now, man. I don't know what's gonna happen to us as a species.
We're going to have to change with it, dude. Like this is
Yeah, we
really
have
why I
to.
believe as well. Like I've been actually really curious. I've been listening up. Like the
Dude,
Unabomber.
they need to teach. Sorry to interrupt you, my friend. They need to teach morals and ethics in school, man. It has to
yeah.
be
Oh,
like a
definitely.
set subject, because we need to cover a shit ton of ground here. There's too much to discuss on like etiquette and respecting your fellow man, and you would think these are baser human behaviors, right? That are taught to you by your parents, or like you learn about them in school, but no, apparently fucking not.
Apparently
And
not, dude. But yeah. So, Essen, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I think I've lost it probably.
That's fine. Dude, do you know what I think the issue is? We have a generation of parents that grew up with not knowing it, and now we have a generation
Shot.
of kids who are teaching each other life lessons. Because what's happening with the internet is at any age you can go on the internet and learn things and get new information. Some of the sites are coming from kids telling other kids what to do, and by kids I don't mean like 9-year-olds, I mean like 15, 14-year-olds that really think they know what the world's about, like me when I was 14 and 15. And I really think we're gonna have to get philosophy back in, because the realization of potentially what is out there is so big that it literally transcends the cares and needs of the physical.
We should sign a petition for world governments out there to bring philosophy back into schools, like right fucking now.
We could probably
We-
set one up. I'm not, no jokes, dude. They're not that hard to set up.
Because we're faced with too many questions and too many rushed and inaccurate answers.
Not just that,
Uh.
dude. We're facing a problem where people don't know how to answer these questions. Like where they're just kind of so stumped to the point where they don't even try to consider things because they know
Or
they
they're
won't
too
have
busy
answers.
trying to find the answer to a silly question instead of asking the right question.
Mm.
Ooh, yeah. No,
You know,
dude,
but
we
the
have-
second you start questioning your questions, that's like when you start dipping into philosophy.
Socratic method, dude. Literally, it is. It has been such a helpful tool, dude. Because we kind of think at some point that we form this consolidation of like, okay, now I know what's going on. Now I understand. And as soon as you reach that point and you become comfortable with that, that is when growth stagnates.
never stop asking questions.
I had a poem on that shit called Questionology.
Questionology.
Questionology,
Yeah.
that's so sick, dude.
It was because it's basically how we humans live.
Well,
Um,
we have a subject name now. We don't have to call it philosophy because they're gonna get spooked off. We call it questionology.
Questionology, dude.
Trying to see if I can bring it up because it really does cover an interesting topic, you know, of how we humans are and what we do. So it starts off like questionology, colon, ask more of any answer. Humans have perfected it like the tango to the dancer. Searching, wondering, ceaselessly pondering, never content, no answer will be sombering. So we delve and we delve with our pickaxes of questions, digging past too deep and into new dimensions. So far have we come that we never even realized, long since have we been gods and humanity our disguise. How, who, what, where, when, why? Our commandment took us far beyond the sky, and still we cry, searching for our purpose. How profound that not having one makes us nervous. As a race, we restlessly keep looking. Only time will tell the consequences of our searching. For as we heedlessly weave through the fabrics of our reality, how long do we have before we reach its finality?
Yo,
Dude.
I think that's the first time I heard that one, dude.
That's definitely the first time I've heard that one as well. Dude, I feel like it is such a big thing that humans haven't realized how far we've come. Because
Dude.
each generation has to start with new memories.
Bruh, we have come too far. Sorry, excuse my
You-
language for the audience, so you can censor me later.
Like,
So stupidly far, my dude. From little microbes that started growing like as fungus on from water that was formed on this rock's surface, and then like for billions and billions of years, fucking being unintelligent, just bumping around, just roaming around this infinity, like hey. Yeah, and I wonder what state that was in. Could you call it like constant bliss and happiness and peace, or was it constant hell and terrible pain
oh,
and
dude, I
horror?
always wonder for like single cell organisms, is it just constant, or is it like I hate life, I want to die the whole time?
Nah, no.
I think it's just I think it's just constant.
I also think it's. I think it's just where we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going,
audio.
dude, screeching through life.
Man, I'm kind of like imagining that Rick and Morty scene where that little baby slime gets born and he runs and he just kind of like turns old and he dies like in that little sprint.
Yeah.
And I just imagine like a low scream, like a going through all of that, you know, just like he knows,
Dude.
and we do know as well. We just like
Yeah,
we're screaming
we
right
know.
now. We're screaming
Yeah,
right
dude.
now. We're just not screaming in the way that is traditionally thought of screaming, because technically that's what we're doing, right? We're like making noise as we're getting closer to our deaths.
Making a lot of noise, a lot of weird noise. A lot
lot
like
of
if you
weird
think of all of the noises that go through your life, just like alone, the noises your body produces. It is a weird ass song, man.
It's a cool
It's-
instrument, man.
you just speaking, forget speaking. What about like cracking your bones or like
Scratching
your
your
digestive
head,
system
dude.
pushing food through, or
Yeah,
like
dude, that's a weird one. You're the only person that knows all the noises you've made in your life.
Hmm.
I've made some weird ass noises, man. Really
I
weird
sometimes
ass noises.
make noises that I've never made before, dude. Just like
Yeah,
not with my body myself, but with my voice. I'll just kind of like make some random ass noise. I'll be like, yeah, that noise hasn't been made before. And now it's been made.
No, I
And
have
you know
that.
what? Do you know what fucking stuns me that I came to realize is that we don't give a crap what it is that we achieve in our lives, so long as we've never done it before and it's new. Like it stuns us and it surprises us and we are so fucking excited about it. This is what happened to me when I did my handstand for the first time ever and I held it in the center of the room, like 2 days ago. I mean, it's such a
Fuck yeah.
simple ass thing. It's just a bloody handstand. You're just upside down. For God's sake, you know. But for me, it was like, oh my god, I fucking did it! Oh, this is so fucking cool. I fucking love this life. This is amazing. I'm like, later I sat down and I thought about it. I was like, fuck, man. I mean, you spent months training to achieve that, and it brought you
yeah.
so much happiness. Why?
I think it's
You
because
did-
of that, dude. Literally, you've been pushing yourself towards this point where you kind of achieve this thing. And I feel there definitely is some sort of sense of fatalistic, I'm going to kind of choose, and maybe that's why people choose money, because they choose this goal for themselves, which is technically never attainable. You know, so maybe like you setting this goal for yourself, I'm gonna do a handstand, and like working your way, like kind of pushing yourself up to walls to kind of build the strength to be able to do that. And now finally getting this moment that you've kind of worked towards. Like maybe it's just dopamine, I don't know, but like maybe that is kind of the trap that we fall into, especially with money, because it's something that could theoretically give you a little bit of dopamine when you see an extra amount get added to your bank account. But if like I believe it's going to be exponentially diminutive. Is it that the way to say it? Like
Yeah, because
it's going to
as
get
the
less
more money
and
you get, the less
exactly.
it's gonna
dude.
be a thing. Yeah.
Do you know what one of my favorite scenes in a Rick and Morty episode was? It was that train guy that like rips his shirt off and he's super fucking jacked and
Tickets,
And they
please.
look at him and he's like,
And
"Oh
then-
wow,
and Rick
conductor's
come
dead."
gutters, and it's like Rick and Morty are about like getting ready to fight this guy. He's like, "Oh, you think you can do this? Check this out!" And then he just does a standing backflip and even wobbles when he lands and shit. And Rick and Morty are like, "Oh fuck no!"
Oh fuck no.
And it was just like a standing backflip, you know. It's not something that's so fucking mind blowing or anything like that. But if you really think about it, like doing a standing backflip is fucking hard, man.
I've
So
only
crazy.
ever seen it done in my life with the internet by like max 30 people.
30
Like,
people. Like,
if you really
I'm trying to
think
think
about
if
it,
I've
dude.
seen anyone, dude. I'm like a standing backflip. So
I
like
think-
being able to like bend their legs, right? They're just not on a
Jump.
trampoline.
Yeah, by bending
Okay.
and jumping and
Like
doing
I was
that.
for a
I've seen it-
second, I was for a second trying to imagine the anatomy of just keeping your legs straight and then doing a backflip afterwards. Dude. I'm like trying to figure it out. Like that shit would be impressive.
Just use your feet.
Yeah, dude, you just see this person pivoting in space over his head and puts his feet back on the ground, dude. I would be like, oh shit.
Oh, no, I'd be done, bro. I'd be done. I'd leave.
That's God, bro.
It's gone, dude. What do you mean you defy gravity?
Just walks into a room, does that, walks back out of the room. It doesn't say a single word, dude.
Pretty sure it would break most people.
Yeah, break
Dude,
me.
There'd
Yeah,
just be
I
a
would-
malfunction in most of our human brains. Like, no one can compute. It makes no physical sense.
Dude, what happens? You see a demon type, your brain literally just cracks, just it breaks apart.
I've
I
watched enough
feel like-
Supernatural to prepare myself.
I won't be. I'm waiting for that day that happens to us, right? Like, I wish it would happen in our lifetime. I've been wishing for something bizarre and completely, you know, non-realistic to happen in my life. And what I mean by that is I'm like walking to my store, you know, browsing on my phone, and suddenly a portal opens up and some fucking demon like walks out, and I just want to experience my own reaction to that, you know, in
At
real
that.
life.
Dude,
I
like,
want
can
to
I give you
know
some
what,
advice,
instead of
Christian?
pretending or saying what I would say, I want to actually know what my reaction would be.
Like, I kind of try and comfort myself by imagining those little portals that open. I can see them in synchronicities, dude. So I'll see like double numbers somewhere, or like the same number for the sixth time in the same day. And I'll think to myself, this could maybe be something like that. You know, one of those awe-inspiring moments. Not quite an actual fucking alien walking through a portal and me, you know, being awe-inspired by that, but in my own small way, you know, being inspired in these little packets, you know, of information, if you will.
Ask and you shall receive.
That's also true. Like, I've been thinking about like Rick and Morty coming for the third swing in today's episode. Like, I've been wondering just about how cool it would be just to have one of those portal guns, dude, and being able to actually know how to use it properly. Damn, dude, that would be a fun tool to have.
You'd be like Rick, bro. You'd get bored.
I don't think so. I don't actually think so.
When you can do anything and everything, you'd get bored and just go back to being with your family.
Yeah, but then you can, you know, you can switch it out, dude. You can take your family to a different place as well, dude. It doesn't have to stop. You
Why
don't
do
have
you,
to
why
do
do
it
you
alone.
think he brings Morty around for everything? Is to see
Of
like
course.
Morty's reactions to all of the new
Of
shit,
course,
like
dude.
from the
That's
friends.
literally what novelty and
Basically,
having
like,
kids is about.
Yeah, there we go. I was about to say it's like why we have children as well, because we want to see the world through their eyes again. It's slightly selfish of us. I mean, it's not the major reason, but it's one of the reasons why we do it. You know.
Definitely is. Like I mean, you can do the same thing
I
with
actually
like the
wanted to
puppies
ask you
as
guys
well,
this.
dude.
This is a very serious question. It's like
Okay.
besides the obvious reproduction side of it and carrying on the human genome, which inevitably will happen now without your fucking intervention, right? The humans will breed one way or another, and life will carry on. So my question is, as people from a sort of higher level of exposure to information and education and a more looked after lifestyle, and you know, you don't feel the need to have to be able to carry on the family line. You know, what is the reason for having children?
I feel if anything, dude, it's just going to be another life experience, and I feel like that's almost diminutive of the actual act of having children, because I think if anything, it's just one of those parts of life that you can't really realistically experience without experiencing it. It's like a DMT trip, like a mushroom trip. You can't exactly explain or quantify why it is you do it sometimes, and yet you find yourself in that place, you know. Maybe that is the most ambiguous answer that I can give to that question.
I've been really trying to think about it properly, like a non-selfish reason to have children. So fuck your experience that you want to, like a life experience that you want to have, or like seeing the world through their eyes, or just have something fun to do and play with. But what is a non-selfish reason for having children?
Can I tell you my reason I would have kids?
Uh,
Would you not want your kids to experience life as well?
they don't
Yes.
exist.
For
They don't
But
exist.
they are existing in your mind in some sort of theoretical sense right
would
now.
would you not want to give the gift of life to your kids? You don't know what they are or how they're gonna be, what personality they're gonna have at all. But if you have the ability,
I'm just imagining my child being born into this world. The second its head pops out, it's screaming, "What have you done? What have
What have you done, Christian? You fucking had a fucking podcast conversation about this shit 20 years ago, and now here we are.
No, like if you think about it, dude, the feeling of joy and love and that is so overwhelming. Which do you not want to give it to your kids? Like, yes, we have taxes, and yes, we need to pay
Yeah,
bills,
we have taxes. I love
and
that's the first thing you say, bro.
yeah, well, yeah, we have
Yeah,
taxes.
we have taxes. Taxes are pretty shitty, but
I just
Dude,
imagine you like trying to sell this existence to like an alien that wants to come here, and he's like, "Yeah, we do have
that's exactly
taxes.
what I'm doing,
We
dude.
do have the taxes. I know it fucking sucks, but on this planet we do have taxes." And they're like, "Oh, dude, that's a hard
no, so I
one
don't
to
know if I
sell
want to
for
do this
me."
tax thing. Like the sex and the alcohol seems pretty fucking dope, but trade it
Yeah,
off for
but dude,
taxes, like shit,
dude,
man.
Like, what do they do with the tax? They take how much of my money? Oh, that much. And what do they do with it? Oh, nothing. Mostly nothing. Sometimes they kill each other with it.
Okay, no. It depends where you live, all right? So like
yeah,
sometimes they use it to make your life better, so that's very nice, right? In exchange for a very anal society.
And then I
So
just see him like
yeah.
getting like super excited, like, oh, so I get to pick one of the good ones, and like, no, you don't get to
No.
pick.
No, it's a
Um,
completely random bet. You roll a dice, and then we randomly chuck you into the world. So we don't know what parents you're gonna have either. So we're not sure how you're gonna be raised or anything like that. So it's like a
but
complete gamble. But think of it this way: when you are born into a nice family, you'll be super happy and grateful, and if you are born into a shitty one, you still get to experience this phenomenal thing called life. You get to breathe and like touch things and
Pay taxes.
smell, pay taxes.
the thing is, so what I wanted to say just now as well is though that's why I think it's very important that you don't have kids until you can give them
Mm,
and show them the joys of life. Because the thing is, I always think about Chris. Think about the time you and Esteban as well when we were on your farm and we were looking at the sunset over that one mountain, and it looked like a volcano. And just,
Erupting looks
dude,
so cool.
that is why I want to have kids. Take them to places, show them the world. If you can't do that, I'm so sorry, don't do that to your kid. Then it becomes selfish. But when you can take them to a farm or to a place wherever you live or show them the beauty in the world, I think it is absolutely prevalent that you need to do it.
I think that's also a matter of perspective, though. It depends what you
Yeah.
describe
it
or
could
Well,
like could kind of become very dystopian, where it's like if you're in the lower economic class, you're technically not allowed to have children. Like only
yeah.
rich
yes,
people are allowed to have kids.
I don't want to tie it to monetary things as well.
I know,
Because
Johan, but like just thinking from a perspective of like people living in the middle of the city and having to work
yeah,
a full-time job versus living somewhere in nature and having to work still a full-time job, but having just weekend access to different resources and that creating a quality of life. Like technically they could be earning the exact same monetary amount, living in the exact same house, like maybe duplicates of one another, but one is an apartment, and yet just the access to environment would create a different quality of life.
that's fair. That's fair.
I
I
can
think
completely see how the dystopian formula of only those that have a certain level of income and certain kind of livelihood are permitted to have
Access.
kids. I can
Mm.
see how that is logically a fantastic solution for our future. But in terms of human rights and ethics and morality, that's we're still not robots. We're not there yet. We still don't have chips in our brains quite yet. Um, and that's what worries me is what scares me is we're going to lose so many of these human things, the respect for one another and the equal treatment of one another will eventually
but
be overshadowed by the need for the greater good.
yeah, dude, that's why I feel like it's so sad, but standard of living is the biggest issue we have as a species right now. Because if
Yeah.
we could get standard of living as an even start, it would then I don't want to say everybody can have kids because that sounds like I subscribe to the idea of only rich people can have kids. I really don't think that's a good idea. Please don't do that. But like the what would be the life that the kid would experience given everybody starts equally is a way more fair and accurate understanding of what life is. Something that I thought about um I saw a while back. I think I was like 16 or 15. I watched a documentary on Libya. Um, and it was a Vice documentary. So Vice always they used to make really good documentaries that were brutally honest. And so the one thing that I saw in that thing that documentary that always stood out to me, it was they went to the slums of Libya, and now these people are so poor, like, and it ends up where they are interviewing a kid. This kid maybe is like 9 or 10. In his right hand he has a pistol. In his left he has a baggie of cocaine. You can hear he has just been on something. And then he talks about his morning. And the morning consisted of him walking outside, putting a gun to a okay, wait. I will preface all of this that anybody that doesn't want to hear this, please switch off. Skip, I'll put a timestamp. And he walks outside, puts a gun to a woman's head, asks her to bend over. He's 10. Has his way with her, and that was how his morning started as a 10-year-old. And that is some places in this world that are that fucked up, and I'm always at a loss as to how it is possible.
The comparison, man.
Dude, the comparison, bro. How is it possible that we still give flying fucks about things like yachts? How is it possible that I feel it has to be exposure? I'm sorry, it has to be, or willful ignorance.
It's
Because,
willful ignorance,
dude,
Johan.
like, you can't tell, and this is why it's always so important to talk about kids and their quality of life, because that beautiful soul that could have been there has been destroyed by circumstance, by being unlucky and being born. We need to go so far still, so very far into the
I
need
think
to
our
care.
generation is getting there. I think we've started the wave. I think the millennials started the wave.
Yeah, the millennials. I no. We can't take away from the hippies of the 60s, dude.
Yeah.
They weren't all there, but that was the original starting of questioning social
I think
norms.
maybe the idea started coming in.
Yeah, the
Now
original. Yeah.
implementation into society, because back then, sure, maybe the idea was born, but that was a very small niche group of people,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And I think everybody was competing with each other back in that time. Everyone had to outdo each other in terms of education, in terms of money, material goods. You know, oh, my children are so much prettier than your children. They're so much smarter and better and faster, and all of these things. And they were so busy competing with one another that they couldn't see the people that were being left behind. It's too much concentration on moving your life forwards and being your next door neighbor. By the time we looked back and saw the fields upon fields of people that were left behind in the competition, that lost the competition, you know, by the time we looked back, it was overwhelming.
Yep.
Too many.
Now we need to start bringing back, dude. So I every moment that you
Now
can.
this stupid capitalistic competition that we have going has to fucking stop. You don't need a big fancy house. You don't need a fucking pool. You don't need that supercar. You don't need any of it. You need some food, a roof over your head, and a nice blanket. I'm not saying don't live comfortably. I'm saying know when to draw the line and know when to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem to be a thing even now.
It's getting there, dude. As we this
Slow.
is
We need to speed that shit up.
Yeah, the thing is, dude, it won't. The changes like that take generations, because generations are how you multiply ideas. You can't you can give it around, but to truly cement it, you need to pass it down as a core principle to your kids. That's kind of that's a portion of probably. Yo, that sounds really bad. Have a kid. The sentence "have kids to improve your
Not only
generation."
pass it down, but lead by example as
Yeah,
well.
dude. Every moment
Show
there's.
them, being telling your kids one thing and then doing something else is not going to work.
Yep.
'Cause I saw it with my parents as well. They're like, "Don't ever drink or smoke." Drinks and smokes in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
What do you mean? Yeah, dude. That's why, something that okay, we'll keep the train of what would you guys do in a situation questions. Would you smoke or drink in front of your kids?
I don't know.
Really?
Smoke weed?
Yeah, smoke weed, smoke
I
whatever
would.
you're currently doing. Yeah,
I
I
would.
would too.
I would smoke weed. Because like, and
Like,
I would smoke weed in the same way that I would smoke or drink alcohol, you know, in a respectful way and in a way that you could show. Like, I wouldn't actually. I would rather not drink alcohol in front of my kids than I would smoke weed, because I would make it very clear that this is something that you can enjoy as an adult, and that when they become adults, it would be something that I'd be more than willing to help them through as well and introduce them to. Because if
Dude,
you
you got-
stigmatize it and you try and hide it from them, then you're just creating like a relationship based on lies.
yeah, dude, no, you like the thing that always gets me is
I
like,
wouldn't hide the existence of these things from them. I would just want to lead by example.
yeah, so
And
don't do something that you're not comfortable with. But if you're comfortable with it, like smoking weed or something at that time in your life, would you do it in front of them?
I don't know. I really don't. I really
That's
don't. If they caught me doing it and they asked me about it, I would be open and I would explain everything, and I would not tell them to not do it. I would just explain what it is and they can choose for themselves.
oh, so okay. See, but that's not saying you won't do it. That's just I'm not gonna blatantly do it.
No, I'm
Like,
not gonna sit down in front of my kid and light a pipe and make him watch.
Yeah, no,
You know?
that is like, of course, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna be like trying to educate him in a way that's like, look, this is how you do it. No, it's going to be like he
I would
sees you
want-
going outside and you're smoking a joint outside, and you come back into the house and you have a conversation with him in that way.
like
I would want to treat my child in such a way where he would feel absolutely 100% comfortable to ask me anything, and I do mean anything, including like hemorrhoids up his ass or some embarrassing
yeah,
shit
dude,
like that.
you need
Or
to be able to ask your parents everything that comes to mind. How else are you gonna learn, bro? No, the reason I ask is because do you know what I find so weird, dude? I ask so many people this. I actually don't know how you guys are, but Chris, I've guessed how you are with your dad. But what is so interesting to me is when I ask people and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, I've never been drunk with my parents," or "I've never done anything with my parents," and I'm like, "What?
Oh, come on.
What do you mean? Like, huh? I'm sorry if like, I'm just, it's so dumbfounded to me because my parents raised me with the idea of like, oh, you're 16, we're in Mozambique, you just came piss drunk back home. Yeah, okay, cool. You had your first experience, great. The next night, my dad had 13 beers and I had 6, and we were drunk as fuck around the fire in Mozambique with a bunch of other friends.
Dude,
And that was my first
I'm one of
drinking
those kids that
experience.
have never had that stuff. Like I feel like you're like looking right at me. I'm like, what the fuck? What's
I'm
wrong
not
with you?
like, it's just, it's so weird to me because as a parent, don't you want to share that with your kid? Don't you want to experience and express yourself fully?
I think my
Apparently
dad's
not,
been waiting
dude.
his entire life for me to reach the age so he can drink with me.
Like that's why I said I thought it might have been the case, but I don't want to assume. It's just that's why I asked you if you do it with your kid, because like if your kid
I would take
is
acid with my kid.
same,
sit around-
bro,
Sit
same.
around
If
a
it's
fucking campfire, take the acid, and I would love to because I'd want to explore that thing's mind. It's 50% me in a completely different time span, and I would love to hear its ideas. I'd be like, dude, it would be an honor for me to take acid with my kid.
yeah, I'm
Like,
just
oh
well
God,
the
I'm
one
so sorry that this is out there on the internet. Mom and Dad, if you ever hear this, sister as well, I am so very sorry. This is what your family member has turned into. I know I'm an embarrassment. Please forgive me, chastise me, whatever. Yeah, that's what I think. That's really
yeah,
what,
dude.
from everything that I've learned in this life, everything that I've been experiencing, and people might condemn me and call me
Yo,
a
people
devil
are gonna
man or some
condemn
other
us,
crap.
dude. No, they're gonna condemn us for that sentence, dude. But fuck them.
Whatever. I
Everyone
really
knows.
don't give a crap what the world might think. I really don't. It's inconsequential to me. Um, so I'd love to sit one day. Obviously, I'm not gonna fucking feed him acid when he's
At
like
like
2
8,
or
dude,
some
or
shit.
13 or something
But you know,
like
when he's a
that.
grown ass
I would
man,
rather
when
go
he's
for like mushrooms at first, dude. Like acid is like a little bit of a long experience.
Yeah, but anyways, any like external substance, maybe wait till they're 18. It's probably a good idea to wait
Yeah.
till they're 18. But yeah, I'm down completely, dude. And
imagine us as like family friends, right? Now we've all a couple of years, call it 10 years down the line. Okay, let's be a little more generous. 20, 30 years down the line. All of our kids are like proper grown, and we planned like a family vacation. Now imagine all of us sit together with our grown ass children, drop some fucking acid, and see what happens. I can
bro,
promise you that shit will be weird.
dude, we go to the to the Zambezi or something like that in the middle of a beautiful lake, and you just sit around a campfire and you camp there for the night. Take a fucking houseboat, dude, and go to the middle of an island on a lagoon. The like it's so far-fetched to me that people try and pretend like they're not who they are in front of their kids, dude. And if you are one of those people as a parent that didn't or doesn't like doing substances or anything like that, how? I'd love to know why.
I think it's also a thing about you know how you don't want to look stupid and shitty in front of your parents, like you don't want to embarrass them or make them feel like they've raised a failure.
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
really do think it flows the other way around as well. Your parents don't want to look like failures in front of
Oh,
you.
yeah, dude. Like they might be intimidated by what they might
They
get
want you
up to,
to
if you
see
will.
them as respectable, wonderful human beings
It's
that
perfect.
are that are
But
perfect.
but
Hmm.
I'm not.
Yeah, but you will one day want your child to see you that way, Johan.
But
Dude,
no,
I
you
think no. I
don't.
like. I feel I kind of have to disagree, because like I'm thinking in a lot of ways about the way I've been streaming as well. Like I'm kind of very open to making mistakes and kind of claiming those mistakes as my own and being like, "Oh, that was
Yeah.
stupid." And I think I want to do the same thing with my kids, to not kind of separate myself from them in this way of like, "Oh, this dad I have, is this almighty, all-knowing thing," because that's never the case.
Yeah, dude, you're setting your kids up for failure because you're going to have them think you are perfect only for them to realize, just like themselves, they're not. They're just older versions that have a little bit more life experience, and we're screaming through life as well. Like, I feel like it's exactly the opposite. You need to raise your kid as human as possible and treat yourself as the being that you are. If you tell them something, they come back to you and they're like, "Oh, you were wrong." I'll be like, "Well, fuck, mate. I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, okay, I guess I was. Thank you for teaching me something new."
There's, you'll see, Johan. We'll talk
No, I
again.
refuse, dude. I refuse. We will talk about this when I have kids. And if I am different, you kick me in the balls.
I will keep you.
Because
I'll find you, bro.
good, because I refuse to. I think it's the most dumb thing in the world to pretend like you're not the person you are in front of your kids.
We'll talk again.
I
We
think on
shall
that
see.
note, maybe that is something you have to consider, listener. Are you
Ominous music in the background.
dun dun dun? Like this entire podcast is just led up to this moment. Like, yes, you listener, you listening right now. We've been talking to you this whole time. Have you realized the thing we've been trying to drag you to?
And now you have to walk the last 3 steps.
Take the last 3 steps. It's all up to you. It's on your shoulders now, friends. Thank you so much for this podcast.
For taking the burden off of us.
It was so much fun. I always appreciate this time.
Yeah, dude. Thank you
All right,
guys so
homies.
much.
Thank you for the podcast. It was a lekker one. See you all
Yeah.
next week.
We
I'll
will.
see you next week. Much
Cheers,
love.
cheers,
Bye.
everyone. Much love.
Bye.
Bye, friends.